Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to today's unseen video. We've got so much to go through. Obviously, we're on the verge of Wyatt Sicks against Final Testament and The Miz on Raw. What a way to start the week. So excited for that. No major news stories today. Loads of bits though. Lots of stuff that I think you need to be aware of. Like this, in our WWE folder, WWE has named the top 10 rivalries of 2024. So let's just have a quick walk down them. Braun Bronson, brilliant. They say maximize your minutes. They absolutely did that. Bronson splashing Braun on top of that car, one of the most viral moments of the year. I would have that higher. It might have been a short feud. It was a really fun feud. Andrade Carmelo, amazing matches. Best of 7 series. Both guys elevated. I'd have it higher. Bayley Damage Control. This wasn't as big as I thought. I don't know. It deserves to be on here. But I don't know that we did a great deal with it after WrestleMania. And I sort of feel like maybe the injuries got in the way. I was surprised that this didn't have more to it. But it does deserve to be here. That moment where she gets kicked out of the group, that was done really, really well. LA Knight against Logan. It did end Logan's United States Championship run, but Logan's just not around enough for this to be a feud that we can really get invested in. But again, title change probably deserves to be on there. Damian Priest, Finn Balor. I don't think it's had its moment yet. I think this feud is still going. Balor gets involved in a lot of Damian matches. Damian could get involved in Balor's Saturday night's main event match against Gunther. But I feel like, put them in a Hell in a Cell. Maybe Balor bring back the Demon. Let them cook, So, yeah, I don't know. Hard. It probably deserves to be here, but I sort of feel like it's still happening and it's not had its big defining moment yet. Sami Zayn, Gunther, tricky. It did end Gunther's historic Intercontinental run, but people wanted Chad to do it instead. So there is this sort of asterisk next to it. The match at WrestleMania was really good though. And they did face each other for the world title when Gunther had become champion. I don't think anyone really thought Sammy was winning that match, though. So, yeah, again, I sort of see why it's here. Probably more because it ended that historic championship run. But, I don't know, not a feud that even as a Sammy fan, I look at with, loads of fondness. Cody Rock, though, wow. I feel like this is where we get good again now. So, Cody Rock, amazing. For me, one of the moments of the year, outside Cody's bus, in the rain, being whipped with that belt. Brilliant. Rock talking trash to Mama Rhodes, cutting those promos on social media, pushing the boundaries of acceptable language. I mean, not just pushing those boundaries, overstepping those boundaries, right? Yeah, I've got no problem with that. I suppose it's a bit of a surprise it's Cody versus Rock, not Cody versus Bloodline, But no problems. And again, no problems. I know that it might have outstayed its welcome. I know that people might be a bit over it now. But yeah, I don't think it can be excluded. I don't think you can do a list of top 10 rivalries, WWE rivalries of 2024 and not mention that. Bloodline, same. And again, it's probably all happened since SummerSlam, but it doesn't really matter. And I know Roman's not around much, still deserves to be on this list, right? And number one, to no one's surprise, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. I mean, this had everything about it. I mean, honestly, one of my favorite matches. The CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Hell in a Cell, absolutely, undeniably, one of the best matches of the year. If you take out, actually, WrestleMania, that could be match of the year. Take WrestleMania out of the equation. Take out Cody finishing his story. Take out the main event of night one. That could be the match of the year. So, yeah, very, very interesting list. Very interesting list. So that was WWE's top 10 rivalries of 2024. So Curtis, thank you. Right, Wrestle Night, loving this. Carmelo Hayes, you might remember, he got told he's going to face someone new. He's going to face someone that is special. And so he's trying to think, who could it be? Well, here, look, he's tagged Nick Aldis, a picture of James Ellsworth. Let's go. James Ellsworth, I think, responded. He was like, this is why Carmelo is him. Right, so yeah, really good, really like that. Adam Pearce is very excited. Obviously, the announcement was made that there's going to be a transfer window. That means a period of time where people can move brands. We don't know when. We don't know how long that window is open for. SmackDown, Raw, NXT, right? Adam Pearce said, it is official. I've been wanting this for years for a myriad of reasons, like injury replacements or roster refresh. I'm excited to see who could potentially join the war zone on Mondays and to see which of my GM pals I can fleece. Then we got this as well. WrestleBuzz seems to be in no doubt who this is. Number 20, WWE ID, Thatcher, Timothy Thatcher, who I believe used to be with Gunther, used to be like in Imperium, right? And so this is interesting. I'm not saying he's going to come back and do that, of course. I believe that was actually outside of the WWE world when he was with Gunther. But he was in NXT, had some really good, were they fight pit matches? Do you remember those? Haven't seen those in ages. That's where there was like a cage and there was like a walkway, a platform on top. We actually did it on the main roster between Matt Riddle, Seth Rollins, just before Bray returned at Extreme Rules. That might be the last one I saw, actually. Well, he was in those kinds of matches, and yeah, he was rumored to be around again, connected with WWE ID. So very interested to see if it is him, because I can't tell. I don't know if that's like a mark on his face, whatever. I have never studied his face that closely. So I'm not 100% personally, but if you look at the comments, a lot of people are saying Timothy Thatcher, and there were rumors that he was involved with this program. So yeah, I'll be excited if it is. It'll be great to have him back, kind of under the WWE umbrella, right? And then the final thing here is that WWE have filed a trademark for the Raw-related term, Raw Vault. Don't know if that's going to be a new YouTube channel like WWE Vaults, or if it's just going to be something that sits on Netflix. Maybe you click on Raw Vault to look at all the old Raws. Not sure. There's no detail. So we're going to have to wait and see how they use that. So that was the WWE folder. We got lots in the Wyatt's folder. So here we have got the Wyatt Sicks putting a tweet out. You just want to be heard, to be seen, but the path you've chosen isn't noble. You delight in the iniquity of others. Celebrate their demise. You are a disease. So obviously very interesting. Are they talking to The Miz? Are they talking to KARION? Are they talking to all of Final Testament? Very interesting. Kane said it's interesting how Bo is actually empathetic towards KARION for being ignored and underutilized. It's great direct statement to expose the true motivations of Kross. So Kane is under the impression, I'm also under the impression, that this is aimed at Karrion Kross. KARION saw this, probably because he was tagged, and responded, honestly, I'm pretty sure this was just another meth-fueled tweet, not even directed at me, that people are trying to add some logic to. This could be for Ronald McDonald's, because he wasn't given a Happy Meal this morning. We have no idea. So there we go. So that was KARION's response. Kane was like, I would agree if there was a pattern of meth head tweets from him in the past. The tweets are crazy, but calculated. Seems like he doesn't care about anything anymore except for fulfilling his mission, which is what we really have no idea about. KARION responded again. He doesn't either. Trust me. So there we go. Well, KARION, as we said, very, very good at replying to people. Certainly if he's tagged. I think he does kind of try to keep on top of his notifications. Miz putting this out. It's always a roller coaster, which is very interesting. So this was 9 hours ago from The Miz. I wonder if he's feeling some jitters ahead of the match tomorrow, right? Because as we said, Wyatt Sicks against Karrion Kross, AOP, Miz, obviously Scarlett will be at ringside. I'm sure Nikki will be at ringside. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. We heard from Nikki as well. Princess Kutab Itch said, intriguing. So here is Nikki Cross posting this image, which honestly cannot find any information on. You can see like a bit of fencing in the distance. We'll come back to that. Right, here, Wrestling Rian says, oh my god, the legendary Rob Fee knows that I exist. And he liked the tweet. Thank you, Rob Fee, for the acknowledgement. I'm looking forward to Raw even more now. Now, the reason that I included this here rather than in the community folder is because what Rob has liked is something very, very interesting, actually. Wrestling Rian says, this is exciting. And it has so much potential, but it needs a little more time on screen. Both Karrion and Bo are excellent on the mic, and like Bray, are deep down good storytellers. A match alone will be amazing. I want them to really go at each other's throats, right? So basically, what he's saying is, I love the match, I'm down for the match, but I really would like to see them in the ring, having a promo battle, going back and forth. They need more screen time. That's what Wrestling Rian has basically said, and that was liked by Rob Fee. So it's a very interesting post that he has liked. And Rob Fee, of course, is the director for character development in WWE. So that's a pretty big message that he's read, received, and acknowledged. Right, so we got this as well. So Danielle, if I get this correct, this is you. KARION, you must be the true White Rabbit. So we had the White Rabbit campaign. People are slowly learning that KARION was the White Rabbit in Lucha Underground, right? Now, what's really interesting about this is I'm under the belief that both of these are named after the White Rabbit that was in Alice in Wonderland. So the true White Rabbit is the one from 1865, right? That comes from the Alice in Wonderland novel. That's the true White Rabbit, yeah? That's where its origins come from, right? So this isn't like an Easter egg or anything like that. Obviously, this is not something that's connected, but of course, KARION's going to make out it's connected. So KARION just responded simply correct, right? So for me, like, again, I have to keep saying it, KARION is excellent at playing the hands that he has dealt. He has got fans doing his work for him, right? We've said this before. There's people out there trying to find connections, and if they find something, then of course they'll put it out in a tweet like this, and KARION will just confirm it. And then if anyone, like 3,200 people have seen this response from KARION, you know, some of those may now believe this. So it goes back to what we've been saying about how he is a master manipulator, right? This as well was really interesting. So the music that was played on this, so this is all it is. This is the imagery. The music, I can't play it because obviously it'll get copyright strike. Silverchair, cemetery. It talks about how these people's homes are now in the cemetery. A lot of people have took that to mean that this is something to do with Bray Wyatt, right? Something to do with Brody. So I don't know if this is Rowan just having a moment of reflection, but this is something he put up just an hour ago. Look, just an hour ago. This coming from Eric Redbeards. So I don't know if this is just, as we said, a moment of reflection. But he put that up on Instagram. So Craig, thank you. Uncle Revel said, first Joe Gacy posted this barbed wire fence video. Now Nikki has posted a picture with what looks like another barbed wire fence in the background. Is this the same place? I don't feel like it's the same place. And the reason why I say this, it is very hard to judge height. But the way this camera is looking over this fence sort of suggests to me that it's not all that high. That looks like quite a high fence to me. I don't know that you're getting the camera up to that level, right? I sort of feel like a person's probably about this big. I don't know that you can look over this fence. I'm just judging by the height of the trees, and I don't know that they are the same, but obviously very similar in theme, very similar in tone. I would love for this to be building to something. We are keeping an eye on this. We are talking about this. People desperately want this to be a compound so that we can start to get promos. Could it lead to something like that so that we can do promos from some sort of compound in 2025? Don't forget, as soon as we go to Netflix, Raw goes to 3 hours. We will have a bit more time where we can hopefully start to showcase the Wyatt Sicks on a more regular basis. So teasing a compound or somewhere where we can do promos that would make sense for this faction yeah, it could lead to that, but I don't know. At the moment, I keep remembering what Rob Fee said. He said that the Wyatt Sicks account is the one really to pay attention to. That's the one where the official messages are coming out of. When it comes to personal accounts, that really comes down to, you know, the guys just sharing whatever it is they want to share, you know? So it may be connected. It might not be connected. It's hard to know. Something to keep an eye on. And look at this, Dexter Lumis showing off his gains. Look at these gains. He looks amazing, doesn't he? This is one of the things where you don't see them like on a regular basis. So whilst they're off, you know, they're putting the work in. Like, look at the size of him. He looks so good. He looks so good. So yeah, amazing. So we might be seeing a much bigger Dexter Lumis tomorrow on Raw after he's put in the work in. So that was the Wyatt's folder. Let's go into the KARION folder, shall we? And I had to give this its own folder because there's quite a bit to kind of go into here. This is deep waters, okay? This is, I think that you can follow everything in that Wyatt's folder that we just looked at. This one is a little trickier, okay? So we're going to navigate it together, but some might be getting left behind in this one, right? As we said, these are deeper waters. So let's go over here. So KARION just put this out the blue, right? He dropped this around about 2 hours or so ago, okay? And I was very interested in it. First thing that caught my attention was Master Manipulator, because that's something we've been describing KARION as, and I'm certainly not saying he's watching these videos or aware of what we're saying, right? But yeah, it was very interesting that this is how this tweet started. So a master manipulator makes a lie believable by mixing a small fraction of the truth with a large fraction of lies. So, in my opinion, that is what KARION does. I believe that there is a shred of truth in what KARION says. He claims to have had a close relationship with Bray. I believe him. He's got the tattoo, which shows Bray meant a lot to him. He's shown us DMs where he's interacted with Bray. I don't disbelieve that they didn't talk and that there was going to be plans of a feud. I don't disbelieve that. If he said that there were emails, I would believe him, right? I believe there is truth in what he says. But when you're seeing all these wacky theories being confirmed by KARION, right? And you can kind of find holes in these theories. For me, this is where I go back to what I've said before. I think he's very good at using the cards dealt to his advantage. So hence why Master Manipulator, I think, fits him well, right? So then he moves on to this bit here, which, to be honest, I feel like this is not the deep waters. This feels like we're in the kiddie pool, right? And I was a little bit surprised when I read this that it was so easy to explain. It was so easy to navigate. There was no challenge here. There was nothing here that stumped me. There was nothing here that I found complex or confusing. There was nothing here that I really had to think about. And I wasn't alone with that. Someone actually responded. And I'm glad that they did, because they responded with the same thing I would have responded with if I was so inclined. But I'm not inclined, because I'm quite happy for KARION to obviously do what he's doing, and he does it so well. I just don't want people in this community to maybe get sucked in like some people are, right? As we said, Master Manipulator. So why didn't they help Motor City Machine Guns? Well, for me, in regards to this, we know that the Wyatt Sicks on SmackDown, right? So I don't know how they could help Motor City Machine Guns if they're not actually there. So Motor City Machine Guns were turned on mid-match by Johnny, right? That only happened on Friday, and we didn't know that was going to happen. And the Wyatt Sicks are not there. Plus, also, I would say, they're currently engaged in a feud, in a situation with Final Testament, with KARION, right? I don't know that they're looking to kind of, you know, reach out and deal with other situations at the moment, right? Maybe if they weren't involved in anything, maybe they would pop up and help Motor City Machine Guns, right? But it's on a different brand, a brand where we've never seen them, and it only literally just happened on Friday. And they're also engaged at the moment with a feud with KARION. So for me, why didn't they help Motor City Machine Guns? A plethora of answers there. Why didn't they help Cody? Again, I mean, like, Cody has been operating over on SmackDown. When he got attacked, jumped by Kevin Owens, that was actually immediately after, was it Bad Bloods? I mean, famously, the Wyatt Sicks have not been used on PLEs this year. So again, they're just not there. They're not around, right? Had they have been there at the time, then maybe they would have jumped in. Maybe they would have helped. But they weren't on PLEs. They're not being used on PLEs. There's no reason for them to be there. Timeline-wise, I've not gone back to have a look, but were they already engaged in a feud with Miz? Were they already observing Miz? Perhaps they were already engaged. I don't really feel like this is a group that is going around righting every single wrong that happens. I really feel like this is whataboutism. It's something that is famously used by politicians. So it's kind of like if someone's asking you a question and someone's shining the light on you, you can sort of distract by going, okay, well, you might be asking me this, but what about such and such? They didn't do that. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? That's what this feels. This is whataboutism. It's deflecting away. Rather than focusing on the situation at hand, we're trying to distract by asking questions that are just not connected, right? And actually can be answered, yeah? Why didn't they help Roman? Roman's on SmackDown. And again, were they already engaged in a feud with Final Testament? Were they already engaged in a feud with Miz? Why didn't they help Priest and Rhea? This one's a bit more interesting because at least this is on Raw, right? Where they stand a chance of actually being around. But we've spoken about this before. And for me, when do Rhea and Priest show and prove that they have changed, right? Because they caused a lot of hurt and they caused a lot of pain when they were in the Judgment Day. They wronged a lot of people. So at what point do they prove to the world that they've moved on from being those people and that they are now worthy of actually being saved, right? So for me, I could understand that being a question that the Wyatt Sicks may ask. But again, timeline-wise, maybe when this was playing out, they were already involved with a feud. They were already engaged with Chad Gable and American Maids, right? Again, for me, this is nothing more than whataboutism. They sell you lies, hypocrisy, gaslighting. People want it to be true so badly. I really feel like that could be put in a mirror and reflected back to Karrion Kross. And that's why it works so well. I feel like that's coming from a place of knowledge. Except on me. Doesn't work on me. It won't work on me. It doesn't work on me. But there we go. So as I said, for me, this tweet came out and I read it and I honestly thought it was pretty soft. I honestly thought it was pretty low level, low hanging fruit. There was nothing really much to it, right? We've even got this Mr. Hanky, yeah, from South Park image as well, like being messed up blurry, which people had fun with. But you can see, look, here we've got a Karrion Kross fan. Save us from these hypocritical meth addicts, Karrion says. I will. Gabe said Raw is cooking tomorrow. Let's see All Out War. Karrion says you will, right? So this was the first tweet. So we had this. Let's come off this and whoosh it. And Raymond, thank you. Well, your True's tactician responded, and this was really interesting because they actually responded with a tweet that I could see myself responding with. So, well, first off, Roman, Priest, and Rhea all have their own multitude of sins to answer for, even though the world seems intent to let the two of them off the hook, okay? So basically what they're saying is the world seems to have forgiven these people, but there's still a whole multitude of people that have been wronged. And actually, this is something Drew McIntyre, a point he made with the whole Jey Uso thing. You know, everyone was forgiving Jey, but Drew couldn't bring himself to do it. And, you know, that obviously led to him kind of turning heel. It's very interesting. In some people's eyes, he didn't turn heel. He's telling the truth. Much like how people look at Kevin Owens right now. And they're like, no, everything Kevin is saying is correct, right? He's right about how they, you know, tried to end his career. And now Cody's just teaming up with Roman, right? So there's a lot of grey area in here, right? And I think this is where Karrion is going to love to operate, in this sort of grey area, right? Cody teaming with Rowan, as well as Motor City's history with Johnny affecting DIY, both presented issues as well. So that's what True's tactician. I'm not sure I would have gone with this final bit here. I do think there is a degree of them already being involved in a feud, and a degree of them already operating on a different brand, right? We've never seen them at SmackDown. We've never seen them on a PLE. So if something goes down on those shows, why would we expect them to be there, right? Karrion responded with, honestly, a very interesting tweet, and this immediately took us out of the kiddie pool, right? This immediately took us into the deep waters, right? And Karrion showing that he's got this depth to his character, right? To his own person, right? He responded, "Are you suggesting then that forgiveness and innocence are conditional to one's own self-perceived standards and not a universal, arbitrarily, easy for me to say, accepted notion," right? We are definitely out the kiddie pool now, right? We're going into philosophy, right? We actually got a response here from your True's tactician. "It certainly seems that way, which will continue until people learn the difference between personal forgiveness and absolution." Now, I did warn you when we went into this folder that it was going to be deep, yeah? I would imagine some of you are like, what's happening right now? This is very interesting, right? And the reason why I've included this is because I do think we are actually getting to a very interesting point now. Because what your True's tactician is saying is that people need to learn the difference between forgiveness and absolution. Now, forgiveness is like a personal thing, okay? Anyone can forgive. There's emotions that are involved, and it's a very personal thing, but anyone can do it. Absolution is a more formal thing, but that can only be given by a higher power, okay? Those are the differences between the two. So this is where your True's tactician goes, right? The real question is, why does Howdy seem to think it's his place to grant or deny absolution to anyone when you're the one that's unlocking people's true selves? Okay, we spoke about this before. I don't believe he unlocks people's true selves, okay? We've spoke about that. We've covered it for an extended period of time. I think it's nonsense, right? So you've lost me on this bit, right? We were doing so well, and then we took a wrong turn. But here, why does Howdy seem to think it's his place to grant or deny absolution? I don't believe he does. I don't believe Uncle Howdy presents himself as someone that has the ability to formally grant absolution. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think that what the Wyatt Sicks are, they are a vigilante group that, if anything, are looking to dish out a bit of justice, right? This isn't about people being absolved. This is just about people facing justice. Chad Gable attacked Alpha Academy, and Alpha Academy didn't have the ability to fight back. Someone needed to stand up for them on their behalf, and that is where the Wyatt Sicks came in. It wasn't about absolving them. It was about the fact that, you know, Alpha Academy, they needed protection. They needed someone to stand up for them, for their behalf. And, you know, had Otis and Maxine and Akira Tozawa have forgiven Chads, that would have been very interesting to have seen what the Wyatt Sicks would have done, what Uncle Howdy would have done. But we never crossed that bridge. If anything, Otis didn't want to know Chad, right? He was done with him. And obviously then Chad had to go off and form American Maids. What's really interesting is the Miz situation feels a little different, because that one feels a bit more personal, right? You can tell that there's a hangover, yeah? There are emotions that Bo has about his time in the Miz Taraj. So that one, I think there was some forgiveness. I still don't think it was absolution, but I do think that there was some forgiveness that was needed there. And I think when Miz was kidnapped, I think he did manage to convince Bo that he had changed. And I think from that, a degree of forgiveness was granted. Perhaps enough forgiveness to let Miz go. And then maybe it was going to be a case of, you know, your actions, you know, will hopefully speak louder than your words. And boy, didn't they just, because he absolutely cracked Rowan with a chair and showed that he had not changed at all. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. I thought this got quite deep, and I did warn you before we went into it, but I thought that we were really touching on some very interesting themes of forgiveness, of repentance, of absolution, of vigilante groups, and are they right to exist? And, of course, I think your Truth Tactician gave KARION a real way out here. Because as soon as he said about, you know, who does Howdy think it's his place to grant or deny absolution, I don't think he does. When you're the one that unlocks people's true selves, I really feel like your Truth Tactician had such a good read of the situation when they answered it here. And then I don't know what happened here. I don't know if they just got a bit starstruck or something. But, like, I sort of feel like they were responding to KARION with some very interesting points. And then here they seem to buckle and just go, you're the one that unlocked. And then all of a sudden they seem to just fall back on this really stupid theory that's doing the rounds. So, yeah, and of course, boom, KARION jumps on that. Of course he does. Now you're asking the right questions. 100% like Bulb, 100%. So that's where that ended up, right? Deep stuff, I know. I don't know if we'll get dragged into those deep waters again, but it was a conversation I did really enjoy looking at and reading through. So that was the KARION folder. Let's go over, shall we, to... Let's go fun. I think we definitely need some fun, right? So TJF said these were the original concept sketches for the Rock and Wrestling cartoon. So let's go full screen on these. So I don't know if you've ever seen the Rock and Wrestling cartoon. I believe it was for a time on the WWE Network. This was a cartoon that was around in the 80s. Had like Wendy Richter, Hogan, Junkyard Dog, and... I think there was a VHS tape of it. I don't think it ever made it to DVD. It's not on the network now for whatever reason. But yeah, these are like some of the original. There's Andre, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Hillbilly Jim. There's Wendy Richter. And you can see like Fabulous Moolah. You can see like all these sketches, which I mean, I don't know where these have come from, but I found them very interesting because I would love to see that cartoon kind of come back. I would love to see it go onto Netflix. I wonder if, you know, there's controversy around Fabulous Moolah, there's controversy around Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I wonder if those controversies are what prevented it. I mean, I have not seen all the episodes of the cartoon, so maybe there's some themes in there or things in there that have not dated well. I'm really not sure, but I would love to watch it. I mean, the fact that there was a WWF 1980s cartoon that was out there around WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2, around that kind of time period. Like, that is something that I think everyone should get an opportunity to see, but amazingly not on the network. Right, look at this, Alicia Taylor just sharing this. I think this was a fan that kind of came along, look, with Bayley braided in their hair. Look at that, Bay, and I think that's the L there, Lee. I mean, that is amazing. Look, Alicia Taylor said, this is dope. So, very impressive. That is really, really good. Really good. So, Wrestling Biggest Fan, thank you. Wrestle Night, shout out to you. Here's Liv Morgan. So, here, look, we can see this guy saying, repent, repent, repent for your sins. And there's the fun response. I don't think she's repenting. I don't think she's repenting. I've never seen this film. I did just do a quick Google search for it. It's called something like Olivia and Her World of Wonders or something from 1970. Never seen it. No idea why Liv's got screenshots of it. Whether she's just seen this meme and thinks it's funny. Because it just shows a carefree attitude, doesn't it? Kind of got people with torches shouting at her. And I suppose she can really sympathize with that, can't she? Because she has been on this revenge tour. She's caused all kinds of carnage. The fans are upset with her. They're saying, like, you know, repent for your sins. You know, you've stole Dominic. You injured Rhea. Like, you've smashed her face up. You've stole Judgment Day. Like, repent. And that's her reaction to it right there. So I thought it was a really fun post from Liv. Uncle Howdy, thank you. So this is Cameron Grimes. He said that time that I taught the streamer of the year how to take an RKO. So this is Speed. And he obviously must have gone through some sort of training because he took an RKO from Randy at WrestleMania. So it looks like Cameron Grimes just sharing a bit of a throwback image from the lead to WrestleMania where they were working. I don't know if that's Randy over there. I don't think so. I don't know if Randy was around. It'd be amazing if Randy wasn't involved. Poor Speed's got to take an RKO from someone that's not even here to kind of run through it. But it seems like Cameron Grimes was the one that went through that process. Lots of this footage doing the rounds today. WWE seems to put a video out of the camera from inside the cages, and we've got loads of footage from Survivor Series now. So Liv Morgan said the moment you learn there's a camera right in your face listening to everything you've said for the last 4 minutes whilst you thought you were being undocumented. So there we go. Look at the shocked facial expressions when they realize there's a camera and it can hear everything they're doing and everything they're saying, and it's watching as well. And I'm not sure they were aware that it was even there. So very good, very fun. Wrestling's biggest fan, thank you. OTC, so CM Punk and Jey Uso did the look at us meme. So there's a moment here where I think he taps him on the back. Jimmy's like, what's up, dog? And CM Punk's like, look at us. Look at who would have thought it, eh? Just like on the Hot Ones. And I'm not sure if Jimmy got it, to be honest. Jimmy seemed, to me, he seems a little bit confused. But here's the clip.
What's up, bro? Hey, what's up, bro? Look at that.
I think he's confused. It's CM Punk that's like, look at us. Who would have thought, eh? Look at us. And like, there's a moment there where Jimmy's listening. Look at this face. I don't think he gets it. He's like, what? So there we go. That was just a little moment they shared, but we've got loads of moments here. Look, 53 seconds of moments. Fadeaway Media said new unreleased footage of Bloodline at Wargames. So that's Jay's entrance.
Come on, You can't pin. Come on. You can't cover, dude. You don't even know the rules. This is Wargames, dude.
So there's loads of bits in there, actually. So you've got CM Punk doing some pull-ups, right? You've got Jimmy getting all animated, like shaking the cage. As well as that, you've got Sammy actually saying to CM Punk, listen, we got to do, this is the chief. He's the chief for a reason. We got to do what he says. CM Punk's like, yeah, he's the big chief, right? And then he's basically saying, I'm going next. I'm going. And then, of course, that's what led to Roman stopping Punk, telling Sammy to go. But it's really interesting that just before that, they had actually been talking about it. They had actually been discussing about who was going to go next. And Punk was like, to me, I'm going. Right? So it was really interesting to see that. And Sammy trying to explain, no, that we listened to his orders. I thought that was really, really interesting. Obviously, it led to this moment. We get to see a different angle of that moment. And then, of course, this was quite famous. This bit here at the end where basically there seems to have been a bit of communication breakdown because the Bloodline either thought they could go for a pin or someone made a mistake. They didn't realize that everyone had to be in the ring first. And so you've got Jay going, you can't pin at this point. Like, you don't even know the rules. This is War Games. So he's having a go at them for not knowing the rules. So there's quite a bit. And then, of course, you get this right here. I mean, God, there's so much to unpack. So there we go. Some new unreleased footage. And we got this moment as well. Charlie, shout out to you. So as soon as they realized the camera was there, oh, they had a great time. Yeah, they had a great time. Look at that. So there's Tiffy and Liv. And as well as that, I'll give you something to cry about.
Shut up! Shut your mouth!
I'll I'll give you something to cry about. Bad word. Bad word. So I haven't seen this. It must all be in a video that has gone up on their YouTube, I would imagine. Footage from the cages, from the men's Survivor Series and the women's Survivor Series. So definitely want to search for that. Let's go other, shall we? Charlie again, thank you. JD McDonough saying there have been 4 sets of WWE Tag Team Champs on SmackDown since me and Finn, or Finn and I, won the World Tag Titles. This is a generational run. Love that. Wrestling World said the final results are in from our community poll. Who attacked Jade? I don't know how many people voted. This is a big account. They do have like 180,000, so I've got to think it's a good number. 41% said Bianca, 24% said other, 23% said Naomi, 12% said Bayley. So, yeah, Bianca runaway in the lead. We'll come back to this because it's juicy. Heath Slater has urged Triple H to think about bringing the Nexus back to WWE's 14 years after their debut. He's like, we're all men now. It could be so much better. It could be so good to bring the Nexus back. I'd be down for that. I think that's a brilliant idea. So, Wrestle Night, shout out to you. Dave, shout out to you. I hope you're well. Wrestling Card Price Guide said, we are pleased to announce that this 1982 Hulk Hogan Wrestling All-Stars card has sold for $132,000. This is the highest recorded price ever for a wrestling trading card. So there we go. Look at that. Wrestling All-Stars Hulk Hogan card, highest price ever. Now, we don't normally touch on this, but we're going to touch on this because this is pretty interesting stuff, right? So, Dr. Chris Featherstone, who I don't know a great deal about, but is someone that seems to have connections, has come out with bits of news before. I can tell you this post has been viewed 141,000 times, right? And has been picked up by other news outlets. So, Dr. Chris Featherstone said, I received information from an AEW source on November 20th regarding the Lucha Bros status, but I did not report it as I was waiting for one of them to begin speaking their mind about the situation. I was told that was coming, and of course we saw Rey Fenix put that message out talking about inhumane treatment. Now, a lot of people took that to mean about the fact that it was his contract and he couldn't get out of it because of that injury time, right? And honestly, we spoke about it on stream, and I certainly took it that way as well. But it seems like there could be more to this story, right? I was also told that day that Penta's contract was soon ending with AEW. Rey Fenix did just that, speak his mind. So here is some intel I received, right? The alleged excuse that Tony Khan found out about Lucha Bros being in talk with WWE is fake news. And the real reason will be revealed. There is a real story behind the situation with Rey Fenix, which is a huge injustice. Expect the Lucha Bros to go more in depth about their time in AEW when they are free and clear to do so. And when they do, it's going to be ugly. I have no idea what has gone on. I have no idea, like, what this situation's going to be, what's going to happen. There is obviously a lot of thoughts that Penta is on his way to WWE and Phoenix as well. WWE apparently wanting both of these guys. So this is not what we tend to focus on, right? But because unless it's massive news, we don't touch on like AEW TNA stories. But this feels like we're on the verge of something really big coming out about the Lucha Bros. And I don't know if it's going to have a connection with WWE or not, but this is something everyone now is keeping a close eye on. And this just dropped in not that long ago. At the time of recording this, about 2.5 hours ago. Yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So that was, I think, our other folder. Let's go over to thanks. I think we've got some thanks. Yes. So, BreeTube10, thank you, my friend. Lynette, thank you. Chris, appreciate it. OTC, thank you. Jang Tae Sang, thank you, my friend. Charlie, appreciate it. Charlie again, appreciate it. CM Chunk, thank you. Wrestling's biggest fan, thank you, my friend. Bam Bam, thank you. Raymond, appreciate it. Sweet Chin Wrestling, thank you, my friend. Manuel, thank you. Jang Tae Sang again, and OTC. Shout out to all of you guys. And if we go down here, Princess Kutab Itch, thank you. Wrestling Rian, appreciate it. Howdy LFC, thank you. Wrestle Night, appreciate it. Cubs Fan 16, thank you. Trenton, thank you. FGC Dads, thank you. Jim, thank you. Sheffy, appreciate it. Bam Bam, appreciate it. J Omega, thank you. Raymond, thank you. Brandon, appreciate it. Lee, thank you, my friend. Arrows One, Donnell, Larry, Tubby Pancake, Wendy Lucho, shout out to all of you. Really do appreciate it. And I almost forgot the community folder. So Ian says, please make sure you get tested, especially if you have a lump or bump. I want to thank members from 2 wonderful communities that have helped me. Wrestling Days and Thumb Culture have both been really supportive, as it's been really tough. Hashtag cancer, hashtag breast cancer, hashtag cancer awareness, right? There is a bit more to this. On the 22nd of November, my mom was rushed into hospital, where she was later diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, which has spread to other parts of the body. She's now in palliative care, as it's not curable. Cancer is a horrible disease that doesn't care your age. I mean, after everything we've spoke about in this video, doesn't this just put things into context, you know? The real world is so awful at times, and I'm so sorry to hear that you're going through this and that your mom is going through this. So, Ian, thoughts are absolutely with you. They're with your mom. They're with anyone in the community that is having to battle or knows people that are battling cancer. Obviously, it's something that tends to impact us all in some way at some point. And honestly, I'm just wishing you all the very best, and your mom all the very best as well, my friends. So thoughts very much with Ian. Rory and I wanted to show you these pictures from Liverpool, said Sarah. The first one is of someone that's got a sign saying Solo Sokoa sells Avon. Second one is Nia Jax during her entrance being horrified by Rory's Bayley sign and threatening to rip it in half. Look at that. Brilliant pictures. Hope you had a fantastic time, and it looks like you absolutely did. So, Sarah, Rory, shout out to you guys. Alex said, I'm going to Elimination Chamber, baby. Section 211. Cannot wait. Just got my tickets. So, Alex, have a fantastic time, dude. Wrestle Night, shout out to you, getting a like from Karrion Kross. Lynette said, my husband got me this at Comic-Con. He knows how much I love Bray and the Fiend. It stays in the box and it will not be opened. So there we go. That's great. And great packaging as well. A bit of banter. Does excellent work, right? Always coming up with really fun creations. And here, look, he's come up with this Karrion and Bray inspired art. And here, Karrion responding to a bit of banter. And Raymond as well, getting a view over on Instagram from the official Karrion Kross. So, as we said, Karrion Kross all over this community with likes and reshares, retweets, views on Instagram. So, there we go. Another action-packed, pretty fun, and at times very deep episode of Unseen. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me. Obviously, we're back tomorrow with our Raw watch-along, and we will have an Unseen for you after that as well. Have a great rest of your weekend, however long is left. If not, make sure you have a great Monday, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.